Imagine this: two people, deeply attracted to each other, finally alone, finally close. But instead of connection, something strange happens. A smile becomes awkward, a touch feels misunderstood, a moment that should bring closeness creates distance. Why? Because the place where communication collapses the fastest is the bedroom. It's the one space where your words, body language, insecurities, and unspoken fears collide and expose the truth you never say out loud. Tonight, we're not talking about romance. We're uncovering the silent psychological patterns that destroy communication in bed, without you even realizing it. If there's one thing people rarely admit, it's this: most communication problems don't start during conversations, they start during vulnerability. And nothing makes humans more vulnerable than intimacy. Think about it. At work, with friends, or even during arguments, people still wear masks, but in bed, the mask comes off. Every insecurity, every hidden expectation, every unspoken need slips into the space between two people. This is why couples who talk perfectly fine during the day can still feel disconnected at night. Psychologists call it the invisible bed barrier, a point where logic shuts down, emotions amplifies, and people become overwhelmed by three silent forces. 1. Fear of judgment. What if I say the wrong thing? What if they don't like it? What if I'm not enough? These thoughts don't get spoken, they get buried. 2. Mind-reading expectations. People assume their partner should just know that if they really cared, they'd magically understand. But the human brain is not a telepathic device. 3. Emotional reflexes. One wrong expression, one moment of hesitation, one misunderstood touch, and the brain instantly interprets it as rejection. These forces create a silent tension most couples never talk about. But tonight, we dig deeper. Because communication doesn't fail in bed due to lack of love, it fails because of psychological traps that operate in the shadows. And once you see them, you can never unsee them. Let's break down the hidden psychological traps that cause communication to collapse in bed slowly, silently, and repeatedly. Trap number 1, the mirror reaction effect. This is when your partner's microexpressions mirror your own insecurities. If you feel nervous, you read their face through a nervous filter. If you feel ashamed, you interpret silence as disgust. If you feel insecure, you misread neutral expressions as negative ones. Your brain becomes biased, not toward the truth, but toward your deepest fear. This is why people freeze, overthink, or pull back. Trap number 2, the expectation paradox. Most people don't communicate what they want. They hope their partner will just understand. Why? Because expressing needs makes people feel exposed. But expecting unspoken wishes to be magically understood creates disappointment. This paradox silently builds resentment. Trap number 3, the approval loop. This one is dark. Humans are wired to seek approval from the person they desire. But in bed, this instinct becomes exaggerated. People start performing, not connecting. They stop being themselves. They focus more on being accepted than being authentic. The mind shifts from experience to evaluation. And when someone feels they're being evaluated, the brain activates a fear-based response: overthinking, hesitation, miscommunication, emotional shutdown. Trap number 4, the shame freeze. Shame is one of the most powerful silencers in psychology. It paralyzes people. It makes communication evaporate. One misunderstood reaction, a laugh, a pause, a confused look can trigger a full shutdown because the brain interprets it as, you're doing something wrong, you're not good enough, you're being judged. This is why some people suddenly go quiet, why some detach emotionally, why some pretend everything is fine while mentally spiraling. Trap number 5, the trauma shadow. Even people who appear confident carry emotional imprints from the past. A previous rejection, a partner who laughed, a toxic comment, a humiliating experience. These shadows return in moments of vulnerability. They make people defensive, withdrawn, or overly cautious. And when two trauma shadows meet, communication becomes a battlefield of unspoken fears. Trap number 6, the dual conversation problem in bed. People talk in two languages simultaneously. The verbal conversation, what they say, the emotional conversation, what they actually feel. When these two don't match, confusion explodes. Someone says, "I'm fine," while their tone screams discomfort. Someone nods yes, but their body tenses. Someone stays silent even though their mind is screaming. The mismatch between words and emotions is what creates the deadliest communication failures. And now, we reach the darkest twist of all. Here it is, the psychological truth almost no one wants to admit. *** communication doesn't fail in bed because of misunderstanding. It fails because people are terrified of revealing their true selves. ***, the bedroom becomes a stage, and everyone becomes an actor. Not because they want to lie, but because they want to be accepted. Humans fear rejection more in intimacy than anywhere else. This is why communication becomes fragile. People hide their insecurities. They suppress their needs. They silence their discomfort. They pretend to be confident. They prioritize pleasing over expressing. They act out of fear instead of honesty. And the terrifying part: your partner can sense this not through words, but through micro-tensions, micro-hesitations, and subtle emotional shifts. The brain is built to detect emotional truth instantly. This means even when you say nothing, you are communicating everything. The moment communication fails in bed is not when words stop. It's when two people stop being emotionally naked, not physically, emotionally. This is the real reason intimacy breaks. Not lack of chemistry, not lack of love, but lack of emotional visibility. Because you cannot connect with someone who is hiding. And you cannot express yourself when you're scared to be seen. This is the point where most relationships silently begin to fall apart. So how do you fix communication in bed? Not with scripts, not with rehearsed lines, not with forced confidence. You fix it by understanding one simple, uncomfortable truth. You can only communicate clearly when you are not performing. Let's break this into powerful, practical steps. 1. Speak before you spiral. If something confuses you, hurts you, or makes you uncomfortable, say it early. Silence turns tiny misunderstandings into emotional explosions. 2. Replace mind reading with curiosity instead of assuming your partner should just know. Ask, what feels good for you? What makes you comfortable? What do you enjoy? Curiosity builds connection. Assumptions build frustration. 3. Share your internal experience instead of hiding your insecurities. Express them, not dramatically, authentically. Sometimes I overthink in these moments. I get a little nervous, but I trust you. This is new for me, so be patient. Vulnerability creates clarity. 4. Unmask the fear of judgment. If you never express what you want, you teach your partner the wrong version of you. Honesty is not risky, pretending is. 5. Understand your emotional triggers. Ask yourself, what past experience affects how I communicate today? Awareness stops old pain from ruining new moments. 6. Stop performing. Start feeling. Intimacy is not a test. It's a conversation of emotions. If your mind is busy impressing, it cannot connect. And finally, 7. Remember that emotional safety unlocks communication the moment both people feel safe, not judged, not rushed, not evaluated. The communication barrier dissolves, because real connection doesn't happen when things are perfect. It happens when things are honest. So let me ask you this. Are you communicating authentically in your most intimate moments? Or are you just performing to avoid being truly seen? Comment your thoughts. Share this with someone who needs it. And remember, intimacy doesn't begin with touch. It begins with truth.